In that game yesterday, South Carolina offensively, they flat out raked. I'm talking 15 runs and 12 hits in that 5-inning run rule victory over the Orange. Now, the top of the order was particularly impressive. Quincy Lelio, Carly Shelton, and Ariana Rohde, they had 2 hits apiece and combined for 6 RBIs and 3 walks. Now, Rohde, she broke the school single-season home run record last year. She belted her first of the year back in the first inning. Now, defense and pitching has to be efficient versus powerful Hokie team that's rolling early here in 2026. Another thing that Coach Ashley Chastain Woodard had said earlier in the week was she doesn't always know what she's going to get with Emma Friedel. Obviously, she came into that game yesterday, fell short a little bit probably of her own expectations, but here she has the chance to come in and kind of regain some confidence and honestly regain some confidence back in her coach as well. He loves having Foster there at the top of the lineup. He said she's been so great for them, and one of the best parts about her is her ability to get on base. She has a super high on base percentage. She sees a lot of balls, draws a good amount of walks as well, and makes her the perfect leadoff hitter to kind of get into the depth of this lineup. He said her next step to even being better is being a little bit more selective in her pitches. When she goes up to bat, having a game plan, looking for her pitch, the pitch that she can hit, being a little bit more selective instead of just finding a pitch. I think when people kind of scout Friedel, the one thing that they're looking for is really her rise. That's kind of her best pitch. That's what she's throwing. But even in this at-bat today, mixing in a lot more drop, typically than normal. She's throwing that in the low to mid-60s, kind of changing the eyesight, the eye level of these hitters. I like to refer to her as an elite table setter, right? She sets the table for the rest of the lineup. She gets on base a lot, has a really high percentage. Even something as simple as this. Didn't really get a full barrel on the bat, on the ball, but still a nice hard ground ball up the middle, a little bit of a flyer. Kind of starts the momentum here for the Gamecocks at the top of the lineup. What a great job by Davis here. Not really making the moment anything bigger than it is. Still really early in this game with a runner in scoring position. Takes that pitch, inside pitch, gets it around, and just drives it right down the line there. Stays fair. And you see her working a little bit more with her drop ball, and those types of hits are exactly what she's looking to get. You know, obviously we would wish that everything would be a swing and a miss. Unfortunately, we can't do that, but giving those ground balls for her infield to kind of just make it the easiest play possible for her. I like how she's working that and utilizing that a little bit more this time around. When things are going great with you as a hitter and you're kind of in a flow state, you know, they call it the beach ball effect. You know, there are some times where that ball coming in, it just looks impossible to miss, and you know that usually happens off a front toss. You know, hopefully that translates into a game for you, and that's usually when you're hitting your best. But you know, when you're in a little bit of a slump, or maybe you're just getting frustrated as a pitcher, there sometimes, you know, that size of that softball looks like the size of a ping pong ball. Friedel doing the right thing, ball hit right back at her, trying to get the lead out over at second. Anderson just not being able to squeeze it. You know, we talked about here she is kind of taking over this shortstop position, worked really hard in the fall, kind of in a competitive battle within the team, and ultimately claimed her spot kind of by winter or by early January. Coach Ashley Woodard really talked about it. You know, she flat out won that position fair and square, and now she kind of has to show, you know, what she earned. And what I like there is, you know, Friedel threw that 2 pitches ago, saw a swing and miss, needs a strike here, went back to that. I thought Mazzarone did a great job adjusting to that pitch. Instead of swinging and miss, here she is following it off, getting even closer, but I like that pitching call there from Friedel. Huge strikeout from Friedel there. Looks like a little bit of an off-speed there, floating up, but big momentum change there for her. Now she's got 2 outs, and instead of what could have been bases loaded with just 1. No, I love everything about that at-bat. She wasn't taking a moment off. Very first pitch, outside half, goes with it, extends through, throw those hands to the right side, gets enough barrel on it. And, you know, they lost a big name in the circle, Emma Lemley. I mean, she was kind of the face of the VT pitching staff for, you know, a long time. What Coach Pete DeMoore said earlier is that, you know, he wants to make that postseason run and obviously wants to get as far as he possibly can. But if they're going to do it, they're going to pitch their way through it, right? Their hitting is already elite. Their defense is already elite. It's going to be their pitching that gets them. And them being able to have so much veteran pitchers on staff already, that gives them a huge advantage when making that postseason run. What an exciting moment for her. There's nothing like getting your first collegiate home run here for Kai Byers. doing it against a top 25 ranked team. That pitch a little up and just too much plate. Absolutely blast that over the left center field, which ironically, that's where the biggest gap was in their shift. Kai Byers just not allowing that shift to defeat her and says, I'm going to do one even better. And Coach Ashley Chastain-Woodard, she kind of touched, like, they're going to have to be super, strategic and precise as to how they utilize her in the lineup, because they want her to be able to be out there in the outfield. They want her to be hitting, but they also want to use her as a pitcher, and knowing when to use her as a pitcher, knowing when to sub her, and how to kind of shift the lineup within her. That's going to be a learning piece for them throughout this season, and that's going to be really key for them as to how they use her throughout the season. You saw the second baseman there, Mizell, kind of shifted up the middle, basically kind of playing at second base. Obviously Carly Shelton there, very quick on the bases, but she's basically playing behind the base, just finds that gap right there in the 3-4 hole, punches it through. The fact that they didn't steal a whole lot of bases last season, even when they did steal them, they had a lot of success. They were only thrown out stealing 6 times last season, so they may not have done it a whole lot, but when they did do it, they were successful at it, and it was effective for them. That ball was absolutely roped by Zoe Yeager out there in left field. Didn't have a whole lot of, really loop-de-doopy height on it. Pretty much just a really flat, strong, hard line drive. That ball just way too much over the plate from Friedel. She's got such a big bat, so powerful in this lineup. First pitch from Neely Lamb. They weren't even giving her a second there. Touches warm up at all. Chatfield, first pitch swinging, going yard, hits a bomb over that left center gap. Responding is absolutely the most important thing. Here she is put in, to relieve Friedel, who struggled a little bit there towards the end. She's put in a tough situation. Here she is expected to execute, and then right out of the gate gets hit. So it's important for her to kind of find her groove here, kind of settle in, calm down, kind of regain some of that confidence back, and this is going to be the most important at-bat for her right now, is how does she respond after giving up that big hit there for the Hokies. Josie Marin's kind of a little bit of a different pitcher that you typically see on a staff. She has a really, really elite command, meaning she does a really good job of hitting her precise locations. Abramovich, not necessarily the fastest stuff, but painted her corner right there on the outside half, got her kind of fishing there in the count. I actually like the location of where this pitch was. It was a little bit higher inside, kind of at the hands, but Mizell just does such a great job of not only getting her hands out in front early, but also getting that barrel out in front early on time, which is a little easier to do with a pitcher with, a little slower velocity there. But she was down in the count there a little bit. A couple pitches she saw, they were high drop balls, but they had a lot of spin on it. They were dropping really great, dropping in the zone there. Stayed patient, fouled off pitches that she needed, and then found the pitch that came in just a little too flat. Was able to rip it, knock in 2 more runs there for the Hokies as they now take a 5-4 lead. The lead, making sure tagging the bag from the knees, making the throw. Was a victim of 2 errors earlier in this game, but coming up here strong, showing why she holds down that position, showing why she earned that position. This is what you call a quad as a hitter, right? A quality at bat. Here she was being patient. She's throwing out a zone a little bit, being patient. She's got 2 strikes on her, wasting a pitch that could possibly be a strike, following it off, keeping her at bat alive here for another pitch. Coach Ashley Chastain-Woodard said that she's looked better than she's ever looked before. Here she is, her senior year, grinding it through. Foster working the count, starting out down 2, working it back to 3 balls. Gets a pitch, gets enough barrel on it, drops a little floater there in the inside part of the outfield, left center gap there. Enough for 2 runs to come in. Virginia Tech takes a 7-4 lead. I like that spot from her right there. 0-2 ahead in the count. Pitch just a little high, just right above the letters, but a good competitive 0-2 pitch. And the beauty of it is, you have Jory Hurd. She throws a lot different than Emma Friedel, and Emma Friedel throws a lot different than Neely Lamb. And as a staff, they kind of throw the kitchen sink at hitters.
Right.
It's kind of, it's a different look every single time with the different pitcher. And I I think Virginia Tech has really done a great job of adjusting to every pitcher they've seen so far. And Coach Pete DeMore had nothing but praise for Bree Carrico. Called her, the most improved player that he's seen. She moves the ball well, moves it ups and down, changes speed. Also gained about 6 miles an hour on her pitch speed from last year to this year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but
it is.
in overhand or in throwing speed, just in general, 6 miles an hour is a huge difference. The good thing is for South Carolina, Tay Davis was safe at the plate. But I think her going into that dugout right now, one of the coaches is definitely going to be giving her an earful about not sliding at home plate.
Yeah.
that is too close of a play at the plate and too close of a game right now to be standing up, scoring, thinking that you have that in the bag. Rose does such a good job at the plate, getting the barrel, hitting that in that left center gap. Ball drop. Ensley out there in center field with a freaking laser and a hose to the cutoff. The throw home was perfect. Could not have been a better relay. Winners just struggling to hold onto the ball there with a tag, with the runner coming in to score. I think they complemented each other really well. You have one pitcher that's a left-handed pitcher, one pitcher that's coming in as a right-handed. You have one that throws up, one that throws down. Really great variety.